Rebekah Vardy. What is her problem? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. In a detailed and comprehensive breakdown, I've taken you through various aspects of Rebekah Vardy's life and behaviour, making a number of salient points. She has repeatedly appeared as part of interviews with the Sun newspaper. On their TikTok platform, the Sun has had her as a guest, where she has been appearing as part of a Back to the Jungle piece, where, as a former contestant on the reality television show I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, she has been providing us with her observations about the current contestants, which of course includes her nemesis, Coleen Rooney. But before we talk more about what she said in those videos, let's have a look at a short interview that took place in relation to, who else, Coleen Rooney, being spoken about by Rebekah Vardy, which was provided to the Sun newspaper. Have a look at this clip.
Who would win in a boxing match, you or Coleen?
I hate boxing, but that would be one heck of a challenge. I reckon Misfits would be up for that one.
Yeah.
But I actually think ITV have missed a trick here.
Why is that?
Because she definitely have me in as a special guest.
But there's a rumour that she would only sign a contract if you were guaranteed to stay away.
But why? What are you scared of?
I don't know. What would you go in and say?
Confrontation. Yeah. But isn't that what the show's all about? It's about viewing figures.
Would you go if they asked you?
100%. Get me on the plane now.
The journalist commences by asking who would win in a boxing match, you or Coleen. Naturally, the Sun wants to sell newspapers, and it does so by massaging the dispute that exists, the feud that is ongoing between Rebekah Vardy and Coleen Rooney. In some instances, there will be no feud between two individuals, but the media likes to portray there as being one because the public like to join one side or the other. Are you Team Vardy or are you Team Rooney? We've seen that with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp in relation to Catherine, Princess of Wales, and this one's wife, the Duchess of Sussex. Here, there is a feud because there was a falling out between the two women in relation to Rebekah Vardy having leaked information that Coleen Rooney was placing in a private capacity, which she leaked to the Sun. This was proven in court, and thereafter there has followed considerable animosity between the two individuals. Coleen Rooney naturally displeased at Rebekah Vardy's conduct and was moved to expose her as she did in her tweet, and Rebekah Vardy thereafter, who has maintained that she was hacked, who denied that she was the culprit, that she took legal action claiming that she had been defamed, which she then lost, and ever since has kept on talking and talking and talking about Coleen Rooney. Accordingly, the journalist asks, who would win in a boxing match, you or Coleen? She responds, I hate boxing, but that would be one heck of a challenge. I reckon Misfits would be up for that one. I'm not sure whether she's referring to Coleen Rooney by the name Misfit, and therefore it's some kind of smearing. It's unclear. She goes on to say, but I think ITV have missed a trick here, because they should definitely have me in as a special guest. This, of course, exhibits her grandiosity and her belief that she is important. Naturally, the suggestion does have some legitimacy because it would make for excellent television by having the two feuding individuals in the same space. It would be likely that one could not keep their mouth shut, prompting the other to retaliate, and therefore it would provide some salacious entertainment which would have viewers gripped and would lead to the opportunity to comment further about it in newspapers, etc. The journalist explains, but there's a rumour that she would only sign a contract if you were guaranteed to stay away. Now, let's be clear here. Both interviewer and interviewee knew they were going to be talking about this, and the idea is to agitate The idea is to perpetuate the feud for the purposes of trying to generate viewership and readership. After all, The Sun isn't in the business of conveying news, it's in the business of selling newspapers. And therefore, they are more interested in keeping people's own interests by virtue of perpetuating feuds, providing salacious information, rather than actually providing the truth of the matter. You can just ask any Liverpool fan about that. Accordingly, both of the individuals here knew that they would be talking about Colleen Rooney, and also that they would raise the rumour that she would only sign a contract if you were guaranteed to stay away. In a sense, one wouldn't blame Colleen Rooney for doing so. After all, I'm sure she's had her fill of Rebekah Vardy. The response, of course, from Rebekah Vardy is, "But why? What are you scared of?" The journalist asks, "I don't know. What would you go in and say?" Note her response, confrontation. But isn't that what the show's all about? Well, no. It's a part of it, because of course, no doubt the producers of the show like it when there are conflicting personalities in the camp, so that there are some contretemps. But it's not just about confrontation, it's about the characters of personalities being shown in relatively difficult conditions, camaraderie between them, overcoming adversity, making people laugh, etc. So there's a whole mix of things that go in, but notice how Rebekah Vardy homes in on confrontation. She's correct that it's about viewing figures. She's then asked, "Would you go if they asked you?" 100%, she states, "Get me on the plane now." In part, the purpose of this video might be a come and get me. I want to make some money and I want an opportunity to make sparks fly by having a go at Colleen Rooney. Furthermore, it may well be an opportunity for Rebekah Vardy to turn around and say, "Colleen Rooney's scared of me. I don't know why, but she is. Look at her. She's gone on this programme, and the only basis on which she would appear would be if I was excluded from attending. That's not very fair. Look at what she's denying you all, viewers, a confrontation." The fact that Rebekah Vardy hones in on the issue of confrontation shows that it's important to her to be able to spoil, if you will, for a fight. That she is in a position to cause trouble. That is an opportunity for her to have her say about Colleen Rooney and, of course, make some money by appearing on the show again as a special guest. This short exchange provides us with a lot. It shows a sense of entitlement, it shows grandiosity, it shows an individual that thrives on confrontation, and therefore in the circumstances provides us with yet more insight into the behaviour of Rebekah Vardy. A few days ago, she appeared in one of her daily TikToks on the Sun's TikTok channel in her Back to the Jungle slot, and, as ever, was talking about Colleen Rooney. And there are a number of videos where she talks about her, for instance, making reference to her falling in the river twice and being the gift that keeps on giving. She talks about other contestants as well, but Colleen Rooney does get repeatedly mentioned. What is interesting is the responses in the comments. On one particular video, it's got 2,220 comments. Here's a selection. "Just when you thought Rebekah Vardy couldn't embarrass herself more. The Sun and Rebekah Vardy. Nothing more needs to be said. Colleen Rooney lives in her head rent-free. Why have you given this cretin a platform? Rebekah Vardy working for the Sun, who would have known? Genuinely, is Jamie Vardy not going mad at this? It's getting to the point no one will remember him for his football achievements over his miserable wife. Jamie Vardy surely has to be so fed up with her by now. Just imagine you're Jamie Vardy and sat in the changing room and your teammates won't tell you anything because your missus is a grass. Why is the Sun giving her airtime? Vardy the attention seeker. And the most boring commentary need to stay relevant goes to ... Rebekah Vardy's account. How sad is Vardy and the Sun? Get a life, you snake. Nasty Vardy. Rebekah Vardy seems a bitter, jealous old woman. It's the awkward reading of the notes for me. Colleen is a natural beauty. Rebekah is trying to do the same, except she looks like she's just come from a 3-day bender. Most jealous, vindictive nobody. Shame on the Sun for giving her a platform. Are we just going to watch Rebekah slag off Colleen for the next 3 weeks? It's screaming jealousy. She talks about Colleen being jealous, wanting her life, while she still talks about her daily and sitting in her pyjamas watching her on I'm a Celebrity. She's so draining, she needs to give it a rest. You are showing your true colours, Vardy. Shut up, go away and focus your attention on your own flaws. Stop giving Vardy a platform to tear others down. She's been found guilty and is still intent on slagging off Colleen. Rebekah, irrelevant, Vardy. Pain in the arse. She's so skint, she's working for the Sun. Vardy got all that money and picks this specimen. I didn't realise this was Rebekah Vardy at first glance. She's looking old or like she spent 2 weeks in the jungle. The Sun have sunk lower than whale sperm. You just know she's going to be glued to I'm a Celebrity. What a tiresome individual Rebekah Vardy is, and her obsession with Colleen. Rebekah Vardy selling her soul to the shit rag again. Colleen is calm and dignified, and Vardy is so jealous it's eating away at her little brain and not affecting anyone but her silly little self. Rebekah's take is always interesting. This season's drama is heating up. Colleen Rooney lives rent-free in her head. This woman is so weird, bet Vardy gets some right stick off his teammates. Pathetic. Vardy earned respect for his route to top-flight football, his work-rate attitude and finishing prowess. Main reason, Leicester won the league. Then his bird does this. He must be fuming. She's jealous of Colleen. Obviously she's got something Vardy wants. I suppose you had to find a way to make money to pay your bills, love. And on it goes. Now, what is interesting is the reason that I've read so many of those comments to you is that many people can see that her behaviour is unpleasant, that she is envious, not jealous, that she is obsessing over the appearance of Colleen. Now, one has to bear in mind that part of her role for the Sun, of course, is to create engagement. And therefore, it is often the case with certain personalities that they adopt a controversial mantle in order to be provocative. It's part of their act. They do it because it gets up people's noses, it prompts reactions. They're essentially wind-up merchants. But often the best people who do those roles are narcissists, because it comes naturally to them to create contention, to thrive on the drama. If you can thrive drama so that you receive fuel and someone's paying you to do it, residual benefit, then that is something that would attract a narcissist. Non-narcissists can do this role, of course they can, but it comes to them less naturally because the existence of emotional empathy is such that they may feel hesitant to talk about somebody. It doesn't come naturally to them to agitate. Yes, there are some people who could take it on as a role, but not as swiftly or as with such ease as the narcissist does. Accordingly, it's important to remember that not every individual that is the shock jock, the antagonistic type, the wind-up merchant will be a narcissist, but it is a role which is easily inhabited by narcissists. Thus, the clips, and there are repeated ones from Rebekah Vardy where she still keeps talking about Colleen Rooney, and each time she has done so, apart from the mention that was made in the Daily Mail, she has been derogatory about her, demonstrates that she feels a necessity to keep talking about Colleen Rooney, but not only do so largely in a derogatory fashion about her, demonstrating how she's been painted black and for the purposes of smearing her. Rebekah Vardy also has an extensive social media presence in that she regularly posts to Instagram about what she's doing, commenting on matters, and showing the narcissistic traits of vanity and defiance when she does so. This repeated reliance upon social media is not just the preserve of the narcissist. Indeed, many people who are not narcissists use social media, but the behaviour itself is narcissistic in thinking that the minutiae of her life is so important that it ought to be shared with the world. Furthermore, let's not lose sight of the fact that there is no real talent here. The individual married a footballer and has become a media celebrity. There isn't any meaningful insight. There isn't any earth-shattering revelations provided. But nevertheless, The fortunate position she's got herself into by having a wealthy husband and starting to generate some wealth in her own right, although largely that may well have been wiped out as a consequence of her commitment to legal bills, has resulted in her taking to social media time and time again. The showcasing that's involved, for instance, showing off what she's doing, the places that she's going to, the travelling of first class to Dubai and such like, but also the use of its means to think that people are completely interested in the minutiae of her life, and also to use the platform as a mean to make comments about others, are all demonstrative of the ways that a narcissist would behave. In relation to Rebekah Vardy, she does show a large sense of entitlement. She's an individual that likes to issue diktats. She expects the world to revolve around her. She's someone that believes that what she says has to be heard by individuals. She demonstrates that she's self-absorbed. She shows a lack of accountability. A judge found her, in judicial speak, to have told lies. It's clear that she doesn't form genuine attachments to individuals. She's not an individual that provides meaningful emotional support. She doesn't show responsibility for her actions. She repeatedly engages in blame shifting, claiming that it was something else or somebody else's fault. That she feels, through this sense of entitlement, that she is entitled to repeatedly comment about other people. She doesn't show accountability by failing to apologise. She failed to show accountability by addressing disputes in a private fashion. She regularly takes to social media to absolve herself of responsibility through the smearing of other individuals and the seeking of sympathy by way of pity play. She exhibits considerable grandiosity. She thinks she's better than she actually is. She engages in showcasing. She's prone to exaggeration. She boasts about her life. She shows vanity with regard to her appearance. There's haughty behaviours. She's dismissive. She's arrogant. She holds court. She believes that she is always right. There's evidence of manipulative behaviour by way of false flattery, the telling of lies. She triangulates people with objects and with people. She has invalidated individuals with her comment and has belittled them. She has withdrawn in order to nullify threats to control. She's issued denials. She's provocative. She projects. She blame shifts. She is engaged in false accusations. She's shown poor boundary recognition as a consequence of the oversharing of information, the breach of confidence, the leaking of information, the sharing of minutiae about her life. She shows aspects of the narcissistic dynamic by virtue of exhibiting black and white thinking. She shows that she needs control over a situation in terms of people. She shows a response to threats to control by virtue of her reactions on social media, the way that she behaves in relation to Colleen Rooney. She demonstrates objectification and compartmentalisation. She shows that she has a preoccupation with Colleen Rooney, that she needs to assert control over her, and that she has effectively forged her into a nemesis. She is a superficial individual that is preoccupied with success and will seek to achieve it irrespective of what she damages. For instance, it would appear that she had a friendship with Colleen Rooney and had been admitted into Colleen Rooney's circle of trust, which she then shat all over, as she deemed that it was entirely appropriate for the purposes of leaking private information about a friend to a national newspaper. Such behaviour demonstrates a haughty dismissiveness for that friendship, the fact that it's not genuine, and an absence of emotional empathy. The repeated behaviours that she has exhibited over a sustained period of time demonstrate a rampant sense of entitlement, a complete lack of accountability, evident grandiosity, haughty behaviours, a variety of different manipulations, poor boundary recognition, various aspects of the narcissistic dynamic, and an absence of emotional empathy. Accordingly, based on the evidence as presented, one would conclude that the behaviour of Rebekah Vardy is commensurate with that of a narcissist. Therefore, each time Colleen Rooney appears on her radar, her presence threatens her sense of control, and therefore her narcissism moves her to comment about her, invariably doing so in a derogatory fashion. This has led her to create the appearance of Colleen Rooney living rent-free in her head, a popular phrase that is used by people. But what you're actually witnessing is an individual that has a residual benefit. She's paid to make content about Colleen Rooney, but it also comes naturally to her to do so because she cannot let go of the fact of the loss in court. That court action is still going on. There are issues of costs. The issue of Colleen Rooney and her feud is repeatedly mentioned by the media. It repeatedly comes up on social media. Rebekah Vardy finds herself in a perpetuating cycle whereby she comments about Colleen Rooney, which troubles people. They find it unpleasant, they find her obsessive, and therefore they comment accordingly. And you can see so. I've given you some of the comments which are overwhelmingly critical of her. These comments amount to a threat to control, which means that when people defend Colleen Rooney or comment Colleen Rooney lives rent-free in her head, that results in a further threat to control for Rebekah Vardy. What does she do? Rather than withdraw, she comments further. She issues quotes taken from Donald Trump, exhibiting her defiance. She posts various things on social media, labelling this is the 300th escape from the country. Thus, by putting stuff out there on social media, people then notice, oh look, here she is again on social media, obsessing over Colleen Rooney, showing her trashy side, and therefore she finds herself commented on yet again. She finds herself the subject of people's observations. They criticise her. Because they criticise her, they're providing her with challenge fuel. She's getting the fuel that she requires, but she's being challenged. It's a threat to control. So her narcissism does what? It causes her to then respond again. So she'll put something else out on social media. People will see this, and it will cause them to say, yes, here she is again, obsessing over this, showing her tacky side, and round it goes. The more that she seeks to nullify the threat to control by repeatedly posting on social media, making TikTok videos for The Sun, the more people see it. The Sun doesn't care. It's getting exposure. It'll be making money off all the back of this. But for Rebekah Vardy, what she's doing is facing repeated threats to control, which she seeks to nullify, and then receives the residual benefit of payment. So it works for her to an extent, but ultimately, the more that she continues to criticise Colleen Rooney and talk about her lifestyle, the more that people see her for what she is. They may not necessarily call her a narcissist, but they point out that she's envious of Colleen, that she obsesses over her, that they see her as tacky. They think that Jamie Vardy will be embarrassed by her behaviour. And all of these comments are likely to be seen by Rebekah Vardy, as she's somebody who will perpetually return to social media to see what people are saying about her. In this earlier video, I commented about the fact that she told a commenter to piss off, and that certain comments were deleted. She clearly has regard to what people are saying about her, which is typical of this type of individual. Accordingly, the evidence supports a finding that she is a narcissist, and as a consequence of that will help people understand, by access to my videos, precisely why she behaves in the way that she does, and moreover, why she keeps on commenting about Colleen Rooney. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.